Hello and welcome to No Particular Order, Mana Biscuit's weekly top 5 list show where we list our top 5 spooky things. In no particular order this week, the most terrifying moments in film. Okay, we're going to get right into our list this week. The top 5 most frightening moments in film. Things that scared the out of us. TJ.
Oh, I'm up first again.
No, you're going second. Jay, you're up first.
Oh, all right. Most of these translate into something. For me, it's something that translated into like real life, actual, legitimate fear, as opposed to something just simply scaring me. The first one was one of the very first horror movies I ever watched, and I use that term loosely in this particular case because, well, as an adult, that it doesn't bother me in the least, and that's Critters. The first the scene with the little boy with the hand over the bed and then the leg over the bed and the critter going back and forth, trying to grab it. That night, I watched this with my cousin and had stayed there, and underneath his bed he had all of his toys, and so there were things that shadows that were unfamiliar and things like that, and it creeped me out because a critter could very easily be hiding in there waiting to waylay my arm or leg
Very easily.
Yes, it was dude, that was a great laugh. Next up, again, this is same time, about the same age, and that's Silver Bullet. Right after watching this, my grandparents made us go out into the woods and play, and every little stick crack and things like that was a werewolf creeping up on us. Next up, Stir of Echoes, and this is one of those, this comes as an adult. I didn't realize this. Yeah, just thinking about it makes me cringe. But the loss of fingernails or teeth within a movie, like the people pulling out their teeth or losing their fingernails trying to grab, it creeps me out. It scares the crap out of me, even if it's not a scary moment. Next up is one of my more embarrassing moments as a high schooler watching Scream with the football team. I jumped an entire row during the scene where she's locking the doors and he's underneath trying to unlock them and finally unlocks the back door and she doesn't notice. Jump scare. Yeah, I jumped hard enough that I wound up in the next row back. Most recently,
Nice ups.
No.
Should have been on the basketball team.
No, I played hockey. But anyway.
Jay.
Yeah, I know. As always, miss my calling in life.
Yeah, because everybody looks at you and says that should be a basketball player.
Yep. 5'9".
I wish I was a little bit
tall. Exactly.
We gotta stop that before we get dinged on copyright. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Let's not do that. Then we can't monetize this for our 3 viewers. Anyway, last up is the most recent thing that actually scared me a little bit was The Conjuring. At the time when it came out, I was living in a set of studio apartments up above a business, and we had free reign to the basement. The basement had a big screen TV that ultimately we hooked up, and anytime that we decided to, we were all together because I had 3 or 4 friends that lived up there as well. We would go downstairs and watch movies. Because nobody can fit it. You can't fit 6 people in a studio apartment. It's just not gonna work. And the clapping scene was it creeped me out. And then trying to walk upstairs and hearing people randomly clap just because they knew that it freaky. But that's my top 5.
All right, not a bad list. TJ, as promised, you are second. So let's hear yours.
Okay, leading off the list, because, God, man, this scared me so much. Uh, Fire in the Sky, a movie about supposedly based on a true story alien abduction thing. And aliens just terrify me. Your traditional grays, the big head and the almond shaped eyes, like, no. God, no. Oh, please. Oh, sweet Jesus, save me.
I think we have a new companion to Minions on your Facebook page.
Yeah, we do.
There's only a couple of things that really terrify me, and that's one of them. And we'll probably get to all of them over the course of this spooky month. But there's a scene in Fire in the Sky where there's a flashback of the character who had been abducted by aliens, and he's remembering waking up in this pod and breaking out and trying to escape. And it terrified me so much that I still am like afraid of it. I will still occasionally have nightmares based around this scene. I spent like 10 years where I was living in a house where my room was in the basement, and then there was a very long like family room, rec room thing, and then the stairs to go upstairs. And every night, if I had to go to the bathroom, I would get up and I would sprint across the 30 feet of that room until I hit the stairs, and then I was safe. And then I had to sneak by windows and stuff, like terrified forever. The next one is also about aliens, although a different type of alien. The Alien, only in Aliens. Whoa, such a complex sentence. There's a scene in Aliens where Ripley and Newt get trapped in a little lab room with a face hugger. And that really threw me, because I asked my mom, because I, at the time, was like 8, 9. I was pretty young. And I asked my mom if I could watch this movie, and she said no. And I'm like, okay. So I set an alarm for that night, and I got up to record it. so that I could watch it when I had the opportunity to. And I watched a little bit of it and got to that scene and just noped straight to bed. Just, good God. There's something about being stuck in a very confined space with something dangerous, but it's small enough that you can't necessarily find it or see it. That just really creeps me out. Next on my list is from a movie that is not a scary film. It's from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Tell 'em Large Marge sent you. Watching that at like 5 or 6 just made me think I was going to die. The like silly claymation, creepy face and everything just seriously grabbed my heart and punched it. Like, awful. Next, the Amityville Horror, which also supposedly was based on a true story, and I also watched this movie as a young child with my mom, actually, who told me it was based on a true story. And when you're a kid, if your parent tells you that something actually happened, you believe them that this actually happened. That was not a thing to believe actually happened. So the scene when like the teddy bear comes to life and like the stuffed animals and stuff, like I just freaked out. Like, I really remember that as a visceral, horrible moment of seeing something terrifying and also being utterly and horrifyingly betrayed by my own mother. And then the last one on my list is from Poltergeist. And pretty much all of my movies that I've picked are from
childhood.
when I was young, because that's when stuff really hits you. But the scene in Poltergeist when the dad looks in the mirror and sees the like spot on his face and like starts picking at it, and then the flesh comes off, and he just ends up picking his entire face off, like, just was so disgusting.
They actually redid that scene in the remake as well.
Oh man, I really need to watch it. I have it. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
All right, another good list. My list from the guy that
CJ,
avoids.
you should totally check Facebook.
No, you're a monster. You're a monster, and I know it. My phone just at me, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I saw Jacob Gamble post on my timeline. Ah, you dick.
Yeah, it's a good image. It really is.
Yeah, it's so good.
All right. Okay, so
live video footage. This really happened.
this really happened. Well, what really happened for me is I avoided scary movies because the ones I watched in my childhood made me feel bad, and I did not enjoy the feeling, so I haven't watched many, but I do have a list of scary moments, some from scary movies, some from not so scary movies. First will be from the movie It. I watched both parts because everybody that I was growing up with said, oh, it's such a good movie, and so yeah, I watched it, and it had its scary moments during the movie, like, you know, the clown in the sewer and all that, and but in the end,
all float down here, Georgie.
yeah, in the end, they triumphed, and I'm like, oh, thank God, they triumphed. I can go to bed now. And then the credits roll, and Stephen Curry let out that Tim Curry. Why did I say Stephen? Whatever. Tim Curry. Stephen. That's probably where it came from. Yeah. Tim Curry's evil laugh over the credits ensured that I was sleeping with the light on for a solid week. Next up, the movie Brazil, which is not a horror movie per se, although it is very bleak and disturbing. It's sort of a 1984-esque totalitarian bureaucracy.
Which in and of itself is terrifying.
Yeah. And like 1984, the core of the movie revolves around this romance subplot, and in the end, you find out that the protagonist is victorious, everything's good, love conquers all, happily ever after, and then you find out that pretty much for half of the movie, everything that you see has been taking place in this simulation while he sits brain dead on a chair. That really bummed me out, man. Another one. These first three all come from the ending of the Blair Witch. Dude standing in the corner. Just creep me the hell out, because it's like, you know, I got sent to the corner all the time as a kid, just like every other kid probably has by their parents. And just something about that image of him standing in the corner while people, and you can never really see what's actually happening, but they're all dead, and is the technical term.
Yeah. It comes from the Latin for
the boo-boo jeebies. Next, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not scary to me now, but as a kid, for some reason, when that little asshole glutton kid,
Augustus Gloop,
yes, turns into a blueberry. Something about that was just terrifying to me. The notion that he was no longer a human being.
Violet turned into the blueberry.
Yeah.
Oh,
Augustus Gloop fell into the water and got stuck in the pipe.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That wasn't as scary to me. It was just a normal death. But the yes, Violet being turned into the blueberry. Death. Yeah. I mean, you know, disturbing in that.
Just murdering some kids.
Yeah, you know,
in horrific industrial accidents.
that's Roald Dahl in a nutshell. Yeah. But no, something about being transformed and no longer being a human. I mean, this is something like there was a Choose Your Own Adventure book where somebody got turned into a statue. Something about that transformation terrified me as a child and still does. It gives me, well, we already covered the technical terms for it. Last up is The Shining. It's hard to pick a moment from this movie because there are some shock moments and some creepy moments with the girls in the hallway and red rum on the walls and Here's Johnny is the moment I actually picked. But the movie as a whole is what creeps me out. This theme of being cut off from society, forced to confront your inner self, and what comes out is terrifying, and that to me is probably the one of the most scary things imaginable. So that is my list. Let's do some honorable mentions. I have one, and it's from the movie Seven.
Oh.
Particularly.
Which one?
Gluttony. And it's
eating yourself to death.
Yes, and what's really disturbing to me is I recently watched a video on like behind the scenes special effects deals in movies, and it turns out that set was 110. My headset's falling off. Hold on. Anyway, that set was so authentic. Yeah, they like
all
smeared,
the writing.
Yeah, well, and the director smeared pasta on the walls and let it sit for weeks. The room itself was wrapped in cellophane. to make sure that none of the cockroaches escaped before they filmed, and the producer I saw avoided the set that day because the stench was so awful. And yeah, already that was like the creepiest scene in the movie to me, but
Awesome.
learning the authenticity behind it made it even worse.
Like, I think most of the deaths in 7 were pretty horrifying.
But I don't know, maybe it's because the meaning of life scene that always
that always threw me too.
The idea of eating until you burst is, well, I don't know. Honorable mentions from you guys?
Actually, I'm gonna go with TJ brought it up, but I'm gonna go with it with the Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
Christopher Lloyd's character, when the eyeballs pop out and TJ does a much better job of describing this, so I'm gonna let him take this one.
Okay,
but
at the very end,
my
just
honorable
after,
mention.
and like seriously, and I think part of it is the emotional whiplash of this scene, because it goes from the super sad bit where he takes the shoe and puts him in the dip, and the little shoe melts away, and it's so sad, and then he reveals himself as the Toon that had killed Eddie's brother, and he does the thing like, when I killed your brother, I talked just like this, and the eyes pop out, and then he transforms, and no.
All right. Well, let's get to the top 5 of the top 5 then, because we are running out of time here. So I'm going to leave this up to you guys this week, because this is not my forte.
Let's see. What do we want to pull off of Jay's list?
I didn't watch most of the movies on
Either
Jay's
The
list.
Conjuring or Stir of Echoes. The loss of teeth.
Yeah, the loss of teeth and fingernails in any film, straight up.
Yeah, I'll concede that.
I'm putting Fire in the Sky on there because no.
Because the Greys. All right, fine. Greys don't bother me that much, but
anything. I'll tap into this later in other episodes, but anything with too spindly of arms and legs. No.
This explains your hatred of Minions as well, I think. Yeah. All right. I'm going to, for my list, I will nominate Blair Witch, the ending there.
Okay, hold on. I gotta Fire in the Sky, dude. Okay, this is creepy.
Stop it!
Get out, man.
All right.
Wow.
Two more. We got to get going.
All right.
What else off of TJ's list? Closed Spaces, Aliens,
Factory.
And Charlie in the Chocolate
Factory.
All
That'll
right,
be
okay, that's it. Leave your top 5 list in the comments if you dare. Yeah, you probably dare. None of you are nearly as cowardly as I am. And we will see you next week for more No Particular Order. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.